I like that little chapel. It's rather sweet. Oh, Lord. Right, said Fred. Right, so back in the home base. Blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me. Rejoice and be glad, because great is your reward in heaven. For in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you. Amen. That's from the Beatitudes in Matthew chapter 5. Well, I'm no expert on the Bible. I know a few bits and bobs about it. Those words are rather ringing in my spirit at the moment because I'm being persecuted. I've been feeling sick the whole morning, just sick, just sort of sick with all this nonsense going on in my life. There's light in my Christian place where I am now. The light of Christ shining. A pack of lies by some little neighbours is irrelevant, I'm afraid, ultimately. I am what I am. I don't wander around thwacking children. The woman has made a statement to the police to that effect on the Thursday, the 10th of June. I didn't even see the child that day. They were wandering around abusing me, calling me a paedophile. And this pack of little neighbours. It's just two little families. Two sort of white Northumbrian people, I don't know, men in their early 30s. One always seems to wear pink shorts. And these two, and I shall not use adjectival pronouns, or whatever they're called, to describe the women. And there's this one woman whose name now, the only reason I know her name is because she fired up a site on the 3rd of June on YouTube. I've been on YouTube since 2008. I've made over 3,500 films. It's an awful lot of me speaking. And I end up in this viper's nest, quite frankly. And the extraordinary thing is the police go along with it. I've put in a 101 call again. I'm on to my solicitor, obviously. I want it in Crown Court. I want all of this evidence to come out. This thwacking a child with my staff business. I absolutely want that examined. Okay, in a magistrate's, they wouldn't have the time, but in the Crown, with the jury, I'm afraid they're going to have to make the time. And the woman who's made that statement is going to have to stand up in court and either confirm her lie, in which case it's perjury and conspiracy to pervert the course of justice, or she's going to have to retract. That is the position. In a Crown Court, you can't just fool around with this stuff. People go to jail for these things for a long time. Perjury and conspiracy to pervert the course of justice. People go to jail for this. So I don't know what planet she thinks she's living on. She thinks she can keep telling a pack of lies to the police and the police believe her. Well, okay. We shall see. I'm a fighter. I'm on to my solicitors about this. Obviously, I need proper legal help, but basically, I know what happened or didn't happen. I have been banned from my own home, basically on the pack of lies of some complete stranger. I mean, I'm still in shock. It's rape. The police attitude. I'm white, middle class, obviously. Whatever. Educated, whatever. And it would seem to be in England, it's open season on white middle class people. Anyone from any other country, oh, no, that's fine. Beggars belief. I really do want to work through this and come out the other side, you know, back to what I'd consider normality, where I basically make films about stuff that I believe in and whatever, not my own personal nonsense. But at the moment, my personal physical circumstances are such such as they are. I'm still in shock. I'm screaming inside, crying. I go to Tesco's and I just wonder about crying. Anyway, these are the keys and the car keys to the little panda. Right, here's the happy smiley face in my house down south. And then that's the key to the panda, which we drowned. She wanted to go home to her cats. This neighbour, who was the driver, because my license was lapsed, so she was driving. I bought the panda for her, the tide, the Holy Island, etc. story. Anyway, little panda is drowned. Oh, poor little panda. Poor little motor car. I don't think you want to be a motor car in my life. It's too dangerous. I'll drown you. at the big happy smiley face on the key. I've still got the key of the car. The car's a write-off. It cost me 260 quid just to have her written off. These were the keys I got for the woman who was driving. I've got 2 sets of keys to my own home, number 26 St Michael's Square in Alnwick, Northumbria, England. I just gave her the keys. She had an awful sexually abused background. A neighbour on this St Michael's Square. So when I came out of the police cells, she was kind of hanging about outside, so I invited her in and we started talking quite nicely. So she's a Roman Catholic. But then she said, bog off. Obviously, everything is my fault. Obviously. Well, I'm a man after all. So it must be my fault. I should Coco. I mean, I've been at this all my life. You know, trying to be a loving Christian spirit. Obviously, no one is perfect. But I most certainly, utterly, absolutely do not wander about with my staff thwacking little children. A 4-year-old. I mean, it's inconceivable. And then it went on from there. They kept wandering about calling me a paedophile. Well, Alnwick is a small town, about 8,000 to 9,000 people only. Well, word would get out. That large, tall man with the hair and the beard and the Christian tunic is a paedophile because this woman says so. I don't think, you know, that's going to work. All of them, the whole pack of them, the 2 families did it. I was locked in my house, calling the police on a 999 for safety. Why aren't the police tackling this? I still think the police are involved in the drugs stuff, okay, which is really nasty. I mean, that is seriously nasty. Perhaps not at the higher levels, but I think the police are definitely sort of condoning the drugs dealing. And that's pretty nasty. There is this fly in my house. I don't know what it's eating, but it's been buzzing around since early this morning. But I mean, if the police are involved with their drugs dealing, then that is really nasty. Vicious stuff, that is. Well, I want the truth to come out. I've insisted, I've telephoned my solicitors. It must be a Crown Court, okay, with a proper jury and barristers speaking up for me, my truth. So far, all we've had is their lies. They're in the evidence, the police statements. Well, that's inescapable. If that woman stands up and affirms that statement, then it becomes perjury, once it's affirmed under oath in an English court. But it then becomes perjury, and then it becomes conspiracy to pervert the court's course of justice. And that's a very serious crime. We'll see. I'm not having this. I really haven't. I mean, in the slightest way, what have I done wrong? I just turned up. They wanted my house, I think. Or they're drugs dealers. It's one of the two, or both. These Polish people, or they just want the square to themselves. I don't know. Who do they think they are? Oh, I use an adjectival pronoun. The women are Polish. I've got nothing against Polish people, in particular, per se. So the charge at the moment is racially aggravated, Section 4. They could have been from outer Mongolia. They're just horrid little people. The police have seized my beautiful mobile. Well, I've bought another one. Fortunately, I have the money to do that. But I'm not going to be bullied by these people. It's just... I'm still really trying to come to terms with it. The sort of sequence of events. Right, so we have David. Anyone's heard of him, and Goliath, obviously. And with one slingshot, he killed Goliath. That is the story. And the story about the sculpture is there was the 17-foot block of Carrara marble, if I'm right on that one. And no one knew what to do with it. But Michelangelo, back in about 1600 or so AD, just could visualize it. And if you look at David's leg, there's like a sort of vine thing that's structural to make his standing position stronger. But here is his face. Don't mess with David. Don't mess with God. Amen. God is the boss. Amen.